it's the FBI or whatever was in my head,
right,
forcing that song.
I know somebody's gonna download this. Let's change it here.
Yeah.
No, LimeWire though. LimeWire was the quickest and easiest way to turn your CPU into Swiss cheese.
Oh yeah.
The faint of heart, it's pretty dangerous. I actually can't grow a full beard anymore because one side of my face got burned by a flat top exploding, and the other side got burned by an idiot who decided to pour water on a grease fire when he left the deep fryer on when he tried to clean it.
Water on a grease fire. That is
I'm
the
stuck
worst.
to this right here.
My problem's genetics. I've got all these little patches and stuff in mine, but I'm taking a year to try to grow my beard and see what it becomes. But
nice.
I've got some bad genes in my family for beards.
I'm starting to think that too, but my dad can grow one instantly. I just don't get it.
Yeah, I wish, because I know it came from my grandfather, but I wish if I had gotten my grandfather's genes, he would have at least passed down to me stark white, pure snow white hair at 20 years old. My grandfather straight up had white hair, eyebrows, beard, everything, 20 years old. And I wish he had kind of passed that down towards me, because that would have been great. But he definitely gave me the patchy beard. So
yeah. But
what's your favorite dish to cook?
Favorite dish to cook? I love seafood and pasta. If I had to go with anything, taking a big, huge salmon side and cutting it down, pan searing it, and different spices and lemon, pepper, lemon, and butter, and then topping it or side of asparagus with Parmesan cheese on top.
Oh yeah,
so good.
Oh, that's
only problem is I can't do that down here. I used to live in Alaska and caught it in Alaska or in the river, stripped it down, and then cooked it 4 hours later.
We talked a little bit about it in your chat because I was watching you the other day. My favorite thing is sous vide and steaks mostly, and beef Wellingtons for the more kind of advanced stuff to do. I've made.
They're so good, but like I said in chat, beef Wellington is such a pain to make.
It really is. I even have bought, but I haven't gotten to use it yet, one of those lattice things so that you could put the kind of weave lattice work on top instead. Oh, I'm getting dedicated. But no, I've made about 4 or 5 beef Wellingtons. TMA, who I don't know if is hanging out in the chat right now or not, he's a real life friend of mine, and he got the luxury of trying one of mine. Some of them haven't turned out great because if you don't get all the water out of those mushrooms, you're screwed with your bread. So
yeah, I've seen that go bad quite a few times actually.
But I've never messed up the meat. Every single one of those was a perfect medium rare every single time. I'm always good at the meat.
Oh yeah. Never mind. But yeah, no, getting the meat right isn't exactly the super hard part. It's getting that bread right. Yeah. Like you said, if you don't get all the water out of those mushrooms, there is no way you're making a beef Wellington.
100%. Your bottom's just gone. That's it.
At the very least.
Yeah, I tried one time to take a and at that point I was just experimenting with beef Wellingtons because I'd made 4, and I had decided to cut them down into kind of half portions to make smaller ones, and I tried using a bake pan, but with the I don't know the proper name for it. I guess a drip tray that sits in it with it. You put bacon on it and it crisps it up even better. And that was a terrible idea because the bread baked into the grill and just messed up everything. So, which I thought it might.
I've done that plenty of times too.
So
yeah, don't if it's got slats in it, you can't really use it.
I know now. But it was one of those things of just trying to see if I could improve it and make it easier to cook. And no, you gotta follow every step straight.
With that, unfortunately, there are plenty of dishes that you can cut corners with. You know, one of the more simple things that I love to make, and it's my grandpa's recipe, is a cucumber salad. You know, oil, vinegar, dillweed, onion, salt, pepper, stuff like that. Extremely simple to make. Getting the ratios right kind of depends upon your personal taste. I like a lot of vinegar, so I use red wine vinegar in a lot of it. But, you know, instead of sitting there and just slowly cutting each individual extremely thin slice, I went and bought myself a mandolin, and I'm just like, okay, just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Never get too comfortable with a mandolin, though. As soon as you do, you end up cutting yourself.
Dude, I have chunks missing out of my knuckles because of mandolins. And usually that always happens when it's like, oh, okay, I'm sitting here, I'm good. I've got plenty of the cucumber to go. You know, oh, let me start talking to this person, and just shink. Well, crap. And then you got to go and you got to find a rag, or if you're in a kitchen, one of the more common things is duct tape and super glue, and you just keep going.
Oh, for sure. And speaking of getting cuts and stuff, my all-time favorite moment in cooking history for me is when Gordon Ramsay was on Ellen DeGeneres' show, and he was explaining how you're supposed to curl your knuckles and cut slowly with it. And he goes, you'll never get cut. You will never cut your finger no matter how fast you go. And then, oh, I've cut myself. Medic. It is my favorite scene I've ever seen.
I have seen clips of that. I didn't see it live or anything like that, but that clip is hilarious.
Yeah, he was trying to teach Ellen that all you have to do is curl your fingers and you will never cut yourself. And that comfort got just a little too high.
Yeah. Especially for Gordon Ramsay, where it's like, you know, oh, I'm the best chef in the world. I can do whatever I want. Shink. Oh, I should go back to basics.
So I love that kind of stuff, especially when there's bloopers and just stuff going on like that.
Oh, yeah.
That actually happened in MasterChef once, too, with somebody that got too big of a head, and then he, like, cut his finger twice. And
yeah. Well, it's just like I'm in the middle of watching Cutthroat Kitchen, all the seasons of it. And this one dude, and he's just like, oh, I gotta hurry. Chop, 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 shink. I cut myself. And it's just like, let me grab 2 gloves here real quick. Okay, I gotta finish my dish. Do you want a medic? Nah, I'm fine. As there's blood pouring out of his, glove.
Oh, I'll always love the I'm fine. It's just rotting off. Like,
yeah. Actually, the only time I've ever had stitches in my life was actually a kitchen malfunction. Well, not malfunction, but I had a super dull knife in my chef kit because I actually went to culinary school for about a year. And then I was just like, why do this? I already know all this stuff. I've been cooking for, at that point, like 6 years. So I was just like, okay, I'm done. But the first class was knife skills. And my chef knife had been super dulled from using it every night in the restaurant from, basically 6 days a week while playing football and doing everything else like that you do in high school. So super dull knife. And I'm like, I can't really cook anything with this. I spent an hour sharpening, putting a brand new edge on it and everything. Very first thing I go to cut in class, and I'm holding the onion. I've got the finger curled. I'm doing the side of the onion to do the diced, how they teach you how to do it. And the knife doesn't move. The cutting board doesn't move. The onion slides forward and shanks my entire finger across the knife.
Oh.
And it's one of those things, like, my knife was so sharp at that point where it was just like, oh, it's not bleeding. It's not, I should be good. No, never mind. Nope. It was 8 stitches in my fingertip from, like, the first knuckle down to the nail.
Ooh.
Like, it was an insane amount of stitches for such a small spot, but that thing was deep.
I have a goofy amount of scars that's on my hands from cooking and everything, and that's how you can really tell that I've cooked. But I am thankful that I have never had a deep cut or anything that I needed to go get stitches for. They've all been quite shallow and mostly tin cans.
Tin cans, dude. Don't even get me started on those. I actually like yell at my siblings whenever they open a can because they'll open the entire can all the way around, and I'm like, no, just grab it, push it down into it. Like, don't open the entire can. Just push it down into it when you're done and crush the can closed. So that way you can't cut yourself.
Yep. Yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed cooking. Now baking, I struggle a little bit more on, but I can usually make something if I'm pressed to do it, so to speak. But if it's a first time type deal, it ends up being like a. Thank you, Zanfar, for that gift sub.
So I actually think my brother might be in your chat. I saw his name pop up a little bit ago. He can tell you, I have inherited our mother's baking skills. And when I say baking skills, I mean hockey pucks making skills. we used to have this hockey set when we were kids, and we lost the puck for it, all this fun stuff. Mom goes to make brownies one day, and we're all like, oh yay, she's making brownies. I'm all the way across the house, and I can hear shink. I'm like, what is that sound? I go in, and she is like hammering a knife into the brownies and then bringing it down with the power of like a battle axe just to get through the brownies. And then she like takes one and she takes a bite, and it sounds like she's eating glass. And it's like, what are those? She's like, they're the brownies. I'm like, you mean it's our new hockey pucks? And I have inherited those baking skills. I cannot bake at all. I can cook. I can do all that fun stuff, but I cannot bake.
Please forgive me. My chat is having a war over the fact that stickers are not activated right now. So, like, Brickett bought a sticker, and where I'm on the podcast, I have stickers disabled. And then Zanford gifts him a sub to make up for the fact that his sticker didn't get to go off. And now Brickett's put 1,000 bits down.
Oh.
So I appreciate y'all for the enthusiasm, but we're gonna focus on Chef Lunchbox here, guys. But no,
my camera there for a minute.
My thing I've always said with like hard baked goods and whatnot is, oh good, the foundation material's here.
Yeah, I concur with that. I have made my own, mountain of crumbs trying to make any sort of baking brownies, cookies, anything like that. It's just like, okay, I've had my dog reject a cookie.
I've genuinely never seen that before, but like all the dogs I've ever had are just like big old cows that just want to just eat everything that they can.
I've got an 18-year-old Beagle Basset Hound mix who weighs 61 pounds. He loves all sorts of food. He did not want to eat that cookie.
We had a black Labrador and a half Timberwolf, half Rottweiler. And obviously the Rottweiler was more alpha, that kind of thing, and would like steal food from the black Labrador. So we got to where we would like give them hot dogs and whatnot. And where the black Labrador got tired of its food getting stolen, it started to eat entire hot dogs in one bite, just letting it go straight down its throat. Like, we said, okay.
So you really taste that, right?
Yeah. And we immediately went, okay, we have to give them treats and food separately from now on.
Yeah, I would say so. That is actually hilarious.
But yeah, love dogs. Dogs are some of the best. So I like all animals.
Dogs are the best.
Yeah. Well, birds are a good contender, especially corvids. I'm a big fan of crows.
No, my sister had parakeets when I was younger, and those things can get shot out of a cannon. Yeah.
I went to I went to a pirate show last month, and they actually shot a parrot out of a cannon. I mean, of course, it wasn't injured. It was designed in a way that, just made it look like it was being shot out of a cannon, but it flew around the crowd and everything. Now, Pigeon Forge has some insane stuff going on.
I've actually never been to Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, any of that, which is really sad considering I was born in Indiana and lived there until 7 years ago.
Yeah, I'm real close to Pigeon Forge, so it's the common vacation spot for everything. And like when I was younger and like elementary and middle school, all of the field trips was always to go to Dollywood.
I've had a weird fascination with, I want to go there at some point. It's not very high on my list, but I want to experience Dollywood once just to see what it's all about. I mean, aside from the obvious of Dolly Parton, but
Dolly Parton's all right. I'm not too big into the Dolly Parton side. What makes Dollywood so nice, though, is the way that they handle their buildings and the structures itself. It's very olden. I don't want to call it hillbilly or redneck or whatever, but it's old wooden buildings, old milling houses, sort of medieval in a way, but more just the wooden medieval days. The main thing to go there is largely the shows. They have some of the best shows that you'll ever watch, performance arts and stuff. I've actually stopped going there, or stopped going there for rides. Like the last 3 times I've went to Dollywood, I didn't even get on a ride. I just went to watch the shows and eat funnel cakes and giant corn dogs, like as long as your arm.
That actually, okay. So basically, what you're telling me is I'm gonna want to go to Dollywood just for the food.
Yes. It's the place where I discovered a bread bowl, where they make a giant loaf of bread and then hollow out the middle and put like your favorite soup in it, and then put the top back on, and you take the top off and you eat the top while eating the soup, and then you eat bits of the bowl as you go down. It is delicious.
One of the more popular ones that they use for bread bowls is broccoli cheddar soup or spinach artichoke dip.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love bread bowls.
And they've got one of the best leading leatherworking places. It's actually where I got one of my hats. They've got some really good leatherwork stuff. But anyway, off of that, what's down in your way?
What do you mean?
I got Dollywood where I'm at. What do you got down your way?
Being in Florida, there's always the one thing that everybody seems to know. What's the name? It's got a mouse, big ears. I think he's got a friend who's a dog or something. Oh yeah, that's right, SeaWorld.
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm about 3 hours from Orlando, so I have SeaWorld, which I actually have annual passes for this year. Of course, Disney's down here, Universal Studios. What's the one that's attached to SeaWorld? Busch Gardens. Aquatica. Yeah. They all have their own versions of water parks. Mm-hmm. Like SeaWorld's is Aquatica, stuff like that. And then I don't know if you've ever been to Orlando, but say you don't want to go to a theme park, you can go around the corner and, hey, look, there's a giant Ferris wheel and random fair stuff to do. And then you go around another corner and it's like, hey, look, there's another one. Go around a corner there, slingshot over there. Yeah. So where I live, there's not really much to do. You got to travel a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you want to go watch a certain football team that's black and teal and their name is a cat, they tend to lose a lot.
Well,
hey, I got to throw a little shade. I'm a Colts fan.
I'm definitely not big on sports, but I know that our teams are not that great either.
Yeah, the problem is here is like, oh, our team sucks, but we're gonna keep being diehard fans.
Well, that's the thing about Tennessee, man. You can't find much more loyal people. So whenever you tell them that there's something for them to get behind, well, we're the volunteer state.
That's one way to look at it. One of the main things that I do love about living down here in Florida, well, it's actually one of the few things that I love. What is my brother saying? He has a plastic
Oh, that's your brother this whole time. I've been sitting here like wondering why this guy's been like throwing shade at you this whole time and like debating on talking about it, but
that's my brother. Yeah, I do the same thing. If actually, kind of going back to the stream, I stream Apex with him just about every time I play Apex. So you'll hear all sorts of the brotherly love between us. Why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? Cuss word, cuss word, cuss word. Are you kidding me? This sucks. I'm done with this game. All the typical stuff that you would think between two brothers. It makes for a lot of really fun clips. On my TikTok, I actually have a clip that I put up where he and I were playing Apex. We play duos because why get a random in there and cause issues? But he throws his ult down as Bangalore. I throw my ult down as Caustic, and he just takes off running. We were just basically doing alt. We were doing alt drive-bys, and we just took off running. And all of a sudden, I hear, "No! I fell off the cliff! No!" And like I'm just watching his name go down. Where what was it? Skulltown used to be, where I think it's excavation or whatever it is. I can't remember, but where the giant skull is just hanging on Kings Canyon, and he just disappears off the edge of this cliff, and I almost followed him because I was slowed by his ult as Bangalore, and this clip is just hilarious because you can hear him being super salty, and makes for all sorts of super fun clips. Never mind, it won't let me play.
I got it.
Yeah.
No, anytime you can have a co-streamer or even just like somebody else just to bounce back and forth on any sort of videos and whatnot, it always makes better content in my opinion.
Yeah. I'm really bad at just talking about myself and talking in general if I'm not talking to somebody. So having him, as much as we go back and forth, and we do actually have a lot of fun while we're doing it, but having him in there is just super helpful because we're always trying for hot mics with tactics and where we're going and what we're doing and all this stuff. Then we also joke about stuff that has happened when we were kids, like me putting him in a when he was a kid, I put him in a Tupperware container, like the big ones, a tote, and sent him down the stairs in it with a plastic helmet on, thinking, "Yeah, you'll be safe." We joke about that. We joke about that stuff all the time. I mean, as much crap as I like to give him when we're on stream, and as much crap as I give him off stream as well. I mean, he does really make a big part of my stream since he doesn't stream himself.
Yeah, I think him and Brickett would get along together pretty well because Brickett is like my long distance online brother. He's been over here talking shade as well in the chat, just over here telling people.
Oh, I can see this. Yeah.
Brimthen has a secret.
He sucks with a sniper.
Oh, good lord. Hey, our deleted Minecraft server from back in the day might have got deleted, but hey, it's resurrecting like a phoenix, so. Shoot, man.
Yeah, I mean, the flip side of having my brother in all my streams and everything too is he still lives in Indiana, whereas I live in Florida. So, excuse me, if I do get a chance to go up to Indiana, because my work doesn't give me very much vacation time, so if I do happen to go up there, I don't always see him. So this is our form of hanging out. 3-4 times a week we'll get on, we'll play Apex.
Yeah.
It was COD until Warzone Warzone came out, and I hate Warzone, so now we just play Apex.
someone that I'm really trying hard to get to kind of that stage with is my nephew. He's 16 right now, so he's not got the finances for like a streamer setup or like anything crazy, you know. But me and him's been playing Dark Souls. Anytime he comes down from Kentucky and spends the night or does something, we like binge Dark Souls to try to get him further into the game. And it really has made like kind of a difference with me, because I've kind of watched him grow up and everything, and it's been such a wonderful experience. So hopefully one day
I feel you on that one.
One day I can get him to have his own kind of stream and be able to like play more regularly. But right now it's only in person, so that's what we do.
I feel you on that one. My brother and I, we actually have another sister who he's 12 years old now, our nephew. And the really cool part about like my love of gaming is it transferred onto him, because I was always gaming when he was younger and stuff like that. Being down here for 7 years and he's 12, I came down fairly early in his life. So he's always watched me game. He's turned into a gamer himself. He has his own Xbox, he has a Switch, all this stuff. And it gives him a little bit of socialization because he's actually autistic as well. So whenever we get together, it's always gaming, always gaming, always gaming. I used to actually have him on my stream back in the day, back when I was streaming on Facebook. And, he'd be sitting over my shoulder as I play games. And, then I made the mistake of playing GTA with him one time, and being autistic, he latched onto that. So I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that anymore. But, I have a feeling once he gets old enough to, kind of understand it a little bit better, and, he might be asking me for help with getting streaming set up, because I don't let him watch my streams as well, because I am 18 plus on my streams, and I'm trying very hard to be good. But,
you're doing good so far.
I mean, yeah, maybe a slip up or two, but it's just the amazing fact that gaming is actually helping him as well. He plays shooters kind of. His favorite thing is Fortnite, of course, because he's 12 years old. So, shooters are shown to actually help with hand-eye coordination, cognitive ability, and multitasking, which is all stuff he has trouble with being autistic. Mm-hmm. So, I try to push the gaming on him as much as I can, just to help out.
Yeah. His
mom, on the other hand, wants him to unplug, and sometimes I have to help with that too.
Yeah. There's always two sides to all that stuff too, so.
Oh yeah.
I understand the unplug thing, and I also understand pushing, helping out with that hand-eye coordination and focus and that kind of stuff that video games can provide. I'm definitely an advocator that video games do more good than harm.
Yeah. I mean, plus they're an art form, and now apparently considered a sport in the US.
Yeah. Progress.
Progress. Yeah, one of the things I think really drives me towards streaming, is the ability to actually do stuff like this, where you're in Tennessee, I'm in Florida. We're doing a interview podcast type thing together over the internet with people watching, and family, friends talking crap in chat.
Exactly.
It's it's one of those things, just another one of those things, especially now with now with gaming getting as big as it is, it actually seems like it's bringing more people together.
Yes. So. And I was actually talking about this just the other day with some other people off stream and everything, but the progress that has been made as far as information goes, like if we go just a little ways back, before the internet exploded and everything, if I wanted to get video of Hamburg, Germany, I would have to take an airplane with a big giant camera, film Hamburg, Germany, fly all the way back, give it to my newscasting station to broadcast it out to all of the TV just for America.
Oh yeah.
Weeks of time to get kind of footage that way. And then before that, it was just the telephone, and you only had the ability to talk to people locally. You didn't even, long distance costs too much and that kind of thing. So you would only get really information across your state. And then even before that, it was just the radio, the newspaper, and the radio was still just your country, it wasn't global.
Part, yeah.
And then the newspaper was just local. It wasn't all the states and everything like that. It was only your area because there were so many local different tribunals. And then even before that, it was just talking to family and that kind of stuff and passing things down through word of mouth. And, you really didn't know about anything except for in your little kind of town that you were at. So the ability that information has exploded to where I can just go to a YouTube video right now, 30 seconds, pull up Hamburg, Germany, and see the docks there and see what's going on in real time in 30 seconds. Just boom, go look at a live cam of Paris and look at the Eiffel Tower and all the people walking around it and all that kind of jazz. Like the change of technology has been massively different. And when I was younger, growing up, and me and Caster Dye talked a little bit about this, your real life friends were more important, and those people that you made friends with in the COD lobbies you forgot about and never got around to talking to again. But now we're so connected, we're able to see each other, we're able to influence each other, we're able to even kind of change each other's lives in a way, doing podcasts like this or, being in communities together. Now, your online friends are starting to become more akin to a real life friend and making close relationships and stuff. And I think we're going to see more and more of that since, not to talk about recent events and stuff, but COVID's put everybody into lockdown and everything, and everybody's kind of shut up for a little bit. Now it's kind of getting over with, but, everybody's been kind of closed in and really turned outwards to talk to people through the internet.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, a perfect example of the whole your online friends get to be a little bit more like real life friends. Excuse me. I have a group of friends that I've been playing Xbox with for at least the last 4 years. Some of them even longer. Every year, once or twice a year, we actually all get together. It all started with everybody coming down to Florida, and we all go to Halloween Horror Nights, for the haunted houses. It is since gone to, because I live in Florida, 2 or 3 of them live in North Carolina, one lives in Michigan, one lives in Valdosta, Georgia. So we're kind of spread out everywhere. And everybody actually comes down in October for Halloween Horror Nights. And then we split it up the rest of the year. We usually do a second trip either to North Carolina to the mountains, or we go to Georgia and just hang out. So, I mean, it's one of those things. We all talk every day. We have like 3 different group chats and stuff like that, depending upon who we want to leave out of it. And then, we plan these massive trips. Last year, Halloween Horror Nights got canceled. So we still went to Orlando. We all got together, got a campsite. And we actually took my friend's girlfriend and her daughter to Disney for the first time. So, like, we are experiencing all these things that normal friends would do if you're in a small enclosed group. But we're spread all the way across the country and able to coordinate all this.
Hey, that's lucky. A lot of people don't really get to do that kind of stuff. Those are definitely treasured memories, I have no doubt.
Oh yeah. It's been a blast every single time we've done it. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely something, if you have a group of friends online, you should do.
Yeah, I would love to do that, and hopefully I'll be able to do something like that maybe next year or something, whenever everything kind of blows over.
Okay.
But right now, like, what was interesting for me is so I've always been trying to stream or do YouTube or something for like the last 10 years, and in the last year I've been trying to reconnect with all the original people that I used to talk to all the time, and Brickett's one of them. Brickett was one of the first viewers that I had back when I had like 20 people on YouTube 10 years ago with like Bandicam watermark at the top of the screen type stuff. Checo was one of those, and I've just kind of tried to get back in touch with them, rekindle that kind of joy that they had and that kind of thing, and we're kind of getting back into conversations. So
I kind of am doing that. Back in the Halo 3 days on the 360, I made a friend down here in Jacksonville, actually. And, we've played Xbox all through this time from the 360 until now. And since I moved down here, we actually hang out quite often. So it's one of those things like, one of my longest friendships is from Xbox 360 till now.
Yeah.
Keeping those old friends is always fun. I mean, people always tend to drop off and stuff like that and grow apart, all that. But it seems to be easier to keep in touch with at least some of them that are still interested in doing so now.
Yeah. Definitely improvements on being able to maintain friendships over long distances. But anyway, on other topics here, what other hobbies are you into? Magic the Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons, Warhammer. What else do you do?
I am a somewhat new D&D player. I jumped into a campaign once some drama broke up a group, and they needed a healer, so my friend invited me, and I started playing a cleric. I played a paladin first, and then I died in an extremely horrible way. Let's just say when another paladin decides he's done playing his character and you're trying for a stealth mission and he Spartan kicks the door, it doesn't go very well.
Yeah.
But so then I started playing a cleric, finished out the campaign, and we actually just started our second campaign with me anyway. They've been playing together for years, so I'm a little bit of a newer addition to the group. And the last campaign, which was something from Saltmarsh, Stories of Saltmarsh or something like that.
Yeah, Saltmarsh is a good campaign.
Yeah. Well, that was the one that I started on, and now we're doing the Rime of the Frost Maiden.
Ah, Frost Maiden, yeah.
Yeah, my first character, because I decided to play an artificer. Our cleric made two polar bears very angry in a side mission when we first started, and almost TPK'd us in the first side mission. So now I'm back to a cleric because we have two barbarians and two rogues. After everybody remade their characters, it's like, okay, I guess I'll heal. I was good at it last time.
Yeah, I've been a dungeon master for Dungeons and Dragons for either 8 or 10 years now. I've ran 2 real life campaigns with 5 or more people for over a year. I've run several of them for 6 months and that kind of thing, and did a bunch of online different ones. So I'm mostly a forever DM, but I feel pretty confident in my ability to DM at this point.
I mean, with that track record, you probably should. But aside from new to D&D, I make graphics as well when I get bored.
That's cool.
With
you were
rebrand.
saying you've made your graphics for your show. I remember you saying that.
Yeah, I made all my graphics on my stream. I made another buddy's, but he's since replaced them. I've made emotes for other streamers and stuff like that. It's something that I do for fun. I, don't charge a bunch either if somebody wants to pay me. I'm not that great at it. I just kind of mess around with it and do it for fun.
Yeah.
I also, Cast actually wants me to get on their list of artists too, but I've got to make platforms and all that fun stuff, and I'll do it eventually.
I got you. Yeah, art's always been something that I wanted to do, but I've just never had the time to sit down and do it. So.
I want to get an actual drawing tablet. Like, I have one right now for my computer, but it doesn't have the screen in the screen part that you draw on. It's literally one of those things where you got to look at the screen and draw and hope you're getting the right line.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to do that just because I used to draw as well until I developed nerve damage in my left shoulder, which makes sometimes gaming fun. But I used to draw. I've always been art based. and now the fact that I can do it with a mouse with my right hand actually has made it so much more fun.
No doubt.
So, and like always being art centric, I also do photography too.
Yeah, photography kind of comes with like streaming in a way.
A little bit. I'm using my. It's actually funny. I ordered a Canon T7i for Christmas, and they ended up sending me the European version, the exact same camera. I don't understand, but I got the EOS 800D. It's like, yay! I've gotten more use out of it as my stream camera than I have actually going out and taking pictures.
Yeah. I messed up. I went for one of the mirrorless Sony cameras, an A7 II, but what I didn't know was that you want the S on the end of that, because the A7 II is actually garbage for video.
Yeah, a little bit, just a little bit.
But I have gotten it to where it looks real good, and I have not touched it since. I will never touch it until I get a new camera.
I'm constantly messing with my camera. Just for, it's like, oh, I'm a little blurry. Hold on, let me twist a little bit. Too far, not enough. Too far, not enough. Oh, perfect. I'm going to leave it. And I sit down and it like shifts because I don't have it on a very good mount. And it's like, oh.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, being in Florida, you would expect, you know, most of the time I just grab my camera bag and I throw it in the saddlebag of the motorcycle and just take off to some random state park, start taking pictures.
Yeah, definitely like taking park pictures and stuff.
Oh yeah, I like landscape photography versus, you know, portraits, or I do like cars and motorcycles. It kind of goes with the territory of working in a motorcycle dealership. So
we have a place dedicated in our Discord for photography, like arts, crafts, and that kind of thing. A lot of people's been posting edited landscape photos and whatnot. So
nice.
Yeah.
I haven't checked it out yet. I saw the little tab, but I haven't clicked on it yet.
Hey, your brother gave you a compliment in the chat. Look at that.
Wow. 1,700 comments, you know, throwing shade at me in one compliment. Thank you, Riley.
Hey, a broken clock's right twice a day.
Oh yeah, that's another example of one of the fun stories. I tried ramping my Civic off some railroad tracks, and it destroyed both right side motor mounts. Yeah, we've got a lot of stupid stories that we tend to go over.
I wish I had some memorabilia for my teenage years when I would do all that kind of angst and whatnot. My memory is kind of really screwed up. I have to have like a physical object or someone to sit there and talk with me over it, or I will completely forget about it. Like if say I watch a show and I really watch a show and I love it, if I don't have like, you know, a figure or a picture or something, when someone mentions that show to me, I can't talk about it. It's almost like I'm trying to lie to them that, yeah, I've seen that show, but I can't answer any of your questions or talk about it.
I've seen that show, but I don't remember it. That's you know, half of my junior year of high school. Last game of the season, the football season, I got a really bad concussion, and I don't remember half of my junior year. So it's like I was there, I think.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's why a lot of the stuff in my background is little like stuffed animals or figurines, or like even just like I have CSGO knives that I've had custom created just so I never forget I had a Karambit almost sapphire. like
that's awesome, actually.
Like
Dude, I love Karambits. They're my favorite knives.
Yeah, I used to
carry one all the time.
I recreated my first knife I ever got, which was a Marble Fade gut knife by Tactical Knives. I had that created. And then the other knife that I had created was my almost sapphire Karambit. It was a Doppler that was mostly blue. It was straight up almost blue, but there was one black line on the back side right here in player model, so you would always see that it wasn't a sapphire. But if you ever used the F key and like inspected it. It looked just like a sapphire. Just perfectly like a sapphire. It was just that one black line.
Yeah, if you want to go with how long I've been doing competitive gaming and stuff like that, I didn't even play CS:GO. I played the game that they had opposite that. That was supposed to be more realistic. I played America's Army on PC for a little bit. That Counter-Strike kind of took that over and killed it pretty quickly, actually. But I mean, Counter-Strike's a good game. It's been around for how long now?
Oh man, and just Global Offensive by itself. You know what I mean? Like just talking about Global Offensive is like 10 years or something.
I know, right? It's one of those games. Like, and the thing is people still play it and still stream it, and it's still a major league game as well.
I mean, like, literally, just go look at Jericho for 2 seconds, and you'll see that you can still make a career off of it.
Oh, I know, right? He's only been doing it for about as long as the game, but. But no, I mean, if we're talking about backgrounds and stuff, I always have all of my pops displayed. That top shelf is nothing but Jurassic Park stuff, because Jurassic Park has been my favorite movie, and I know way too much trivia about it and way too much random facts, and it is my number one movie of all time, with Willy Wonka being in second. But the one thing, like, I rearranged my entire setup when I did my rebrand. So, and the one thing that I haven't gotten into camera view yet, because I haven't figured out how to do it, is this monstrosity.
Oh yeah! Look at him.
I have the 18-inch Funko Pikachu pop.
Oh heck yeah! That's awesome.
I'm not gonna say how much it was, but before I did the rebrand, he would sit just over my left shoulder, and like if I got tired of wearing a hat, I would take it off and put it on him.
Oh yeah!
Totally not like Ash from the original series, I swear. But
that's awesome.
You know, that's another major thing, is I'm a huge Funko Pop collector. I have my shopping list is probably like 3 or 4 scrolls through Amazon. And it's just one of those things, is like I need this, I need this, I need this. And like I have a friend that works at GameStop, and every time they're getting ready to drop one, he sends me the entire look, hey, look what's coming out next. You do realize I am like 17 Pokemon Pops behind, right? Why are you showing me this? It's just I love I love collecting Funko Pops. You know, collecting started with Pokemon cards back in the day, just like everybody else my age. And then it went to Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I think I still have some of those somewhere. I'd have to go looking. I tried Magic actually for a little bit, Magic the Gathering. Mm-hmm. I just could not get it. Something always messed with me with the way, like, playing Pokemon and playing Yu-Gi-Oh. You attack a specific monster.
Yep.
You know, so I'd be like, oh, I'm going to tap this and attack that. No, that's not how it works. I get to choose whether I block it with that monster or not.
Yeah, you attack me, and I decide my blockers, yeah. Yeah.
It's just one of those things, like, I just could never really wrap my head around it from playing those 2 games.
I guess. So. Big time Magic player. Collected Pokemon first, collected Yu-Gi-Oh first, then played Magic. Got to where I was applying for judge, applications and junk, in and out of different shops and whatnot. Played in a couple of Grand Prix, and now I pretty well just sit around and play with commander decks. I proxy most of my stuff because, like, there's like 30 decks that I've printed up there, and if I was to buy all of them, they'd be $75,000 or something, because they're like each like $3,000 each if I sat down and tried to actually buy the cards.
Yeah. I heard you talking about that with Checo in his interview. I've never actually thought about doing that. But, back when I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh, though, I was actually doing tournaments. So, obviously, they're not going to let you do that.
No. And I would never do that in a tournament. That's just not fair to other people.
I actually watched one guy get thrown out because he tried to pass off. What card was it? Oh, it was a proxied Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. Actually, he tried to pass it off as a real one, and they kicked him out of the tournament.
See, the way that I said this in Checo, so you might have heard it, but I want to say it to the other people that's here. Because I'm slowly going to move into Magic the Gathering stuff, and I want to kind of like trickle it into my community that like, yeah, I do proxies. Don't get mad at me though, because I full on believe that proxies are bad when it affects another person. You know, if you're just a group of friends at your house and you're all in on it and nobody cares, then it's obviously not hurting anybody. But if you're making cards that look like actual cards and you're trying to pass it off as an actual card, that's just bad faith, and that's the wrong way to go about it. None of those cards up there could ever pass as a real card. They're literally pieces of paper with a land behind them.
Yeah, that's what you were saying. You know, trying to pass it off as something. Trying to pass it off as something that is real, and it's like, oh no, I totally got this from a pack. Dude, that's just wrong. I mean, don't get me wrong. Back in the day, I was an internet pirate like crazy. You know, surfing the World Wide Web in my pirate ship, just downloading everything I could. But you know,
that was the only way to get music back in the day. That was the only way to get music back in the day. We didn't have all these other music options back.
So I may not look like it, but I'm 30, and I remember the original Napster, and then from Napster it went to LimeWire. And then from LimeWire it went to FrostWire, and then
I remember FrostWire.
That's when the Pirate Bay opened up, actually.
And that was a godsend.
Oh yeah, it was great until you started getting like the people that were just putting the markers in there, so where if you downloaded it alerted the FBI and stuff.
Well, honestly, I kind of was more accepting of that than the LimeWire days. LimeWire was a 4. Let's see, we'll put it at a better number. 2 out of 5 was a virus. So you were always throwing a dart and trying not to hope to hit the virus. And at least with the Pirate Bay, you could put good bets on, you know, well, I don't really want to download the thing that has very few downloads. I want to download the thing that has a ton of downloads and nobody flagging it or whatever. But with LimeWire, it was just throwing the dice that you even got the same, and even if it wasn't a virus, you get the right song, because you would try downloading, you know, whatever, and you would end up getting something else. And the file name would be the song you wanted, the description would be the song you wanted.
Do you remember when Rick rolling started?
Oh yeah,
and everybody was all like, "Oh yeah, I want to download, you know, the new Eminem song." So they type it in, they pull it up, they go to play it, and it's a Rick roll. Dude, that was some of the funniest stuff though. Just watching my friends get Rick rolled with that.
This will show how dumb I was as a teenager. I heard that song multiple times, and I did not understand it was a joke at the time. I would try to download a song, and I would hear that song and be like, why is it that? And then I'd get over there. And eventually, after doing it so many times, I started to think, oh, well, maybe I guess they're getting onto them, and that's their way of changing the pirated music. Like it's the you know, FBI or whatever was in my head, you know,
right,
forcing that song.
I know somebody's gonna download this. Let's change it here.
Yeah.
No, LimeWire though, LimeWire was the quickest and easiest way to turn your, you know, CPU into Swiss cheese.
Oh yeah.
That virus would actually eat through everything.
Oh yeah, and they were always meme viruses too. Like there was this one that was like peas and carrots flying up on a screen or something.
Oh, I had a PC that I used LimeWire on. Actually, it was my older stepbrother at the time and myself who used LimeWire. And this thing got turned into Swiss cheese so bad that it would, if you turned off the computer because you actually had to turn off the computer because all the viruses. Turn it off. You would come back 5 minutes later because you would hear it turn itself back on. And then you would turn it off, and then it would turn it back on.
The virus just sit around and like keep turning it on and off over and over.
Yeah, just to keep going. What really sucked was our grandparents bought that computer for us for school, because that was the beginning of the home computer days.
Oh,
but yeah,
what's this?
That.
Oh, I got hosted. Okay, here you go on. Sorry about that.
Hey, look, your lights are going on.
Yeah, the police lights. They're coming to get me.
Actually, that's For the Lowe's Games is actually one of my buddies. So
that's cool. Appreciate it. But nah, those were the days, like easily just, and then putting them. What the whole goal was to have the perfect shuffle playlist on your little iPad Nano.
Which iPod Nano? Because I had the original black one that was twice the size of the regular, or what the Nano became, and it held double the amount of music that all the other Nanos did.
I had two. One was the little tiny square one that had no screen or nothing. You just kept doing the little button. But then, for my birthday, my mama bought me this tiny little Nano. I think it was like 8 gigs, but it did MP4s. It had a screen on it, and it could do little videos and stuff. It was black. It was small, probably like that big, so to speak. Like about that big.
Yeah, that's about the same one that I had. It had the screen on it. Now, I will say though, a little bit of a hot button topic for some people. I am anti-Apple ever since then, though. I don't personally like Apple stuff. I would rather have Android. But what kind of started the whole Android craze for me was I went from the Nano to the giant Zune from Microsoft. The one that you could play videos on and everything like that.
Yeah, my Nano was the last time I've ever owned an Apple product.
Hey, same here. But yeah, no, the Microsoft Zune was where I was, and I stayed there. I actually had that thing all the way up until like the second year I lived in Florida, and then somebody broke into my car and stole it. But that software was actually fairly decent and did really well.
I have pretty much every old thing that I've ever had before. Like, I have the Nano. It's probably just shoved in one of these drawers somewhere, like probably battery decaying or something. I don't know. I pretty well keep everything.
If your desk just burst into flame, it's like, oh, that's where the Nano was.
Oh no, I had a PSP that was about to do that. Oh man, I had thrown a PSP. I had a silver PSP. It was RBK's for a little while, and we traded like magic cards for it or something. And then we didn't really ever use it anymore. Was what it was. But it sat in a drawer. I don't know, probably 4 years, and then I started to move from Georgia up to here, and I found it, and I noticed that the battery compartment was bulged. And I was like, what's up? So I popped it open, and the battery had like expanded like 3 times. So I just like yanked that out and threw it out. Like, I was done. Still got the PSP and everything. It's fine. But the battery was about to explode, I'm sure, because it was pressured.
That, being a collector of gaming stuff, like I have a box full of old controllers that I have a project that I'm eventually going to do. But being a collector of all this stuff, I really look back and I'm like, I was such an idiot for selling this. I was such an idiot for selling that. I don't have my original Xbox. I don't have my PlayStations. I don't have... I'm sure I could find maybe one of my many Game Boys. It's like all this stuff would have been so nice to keep, but I was an idiot. It's like, oh yeah, I'll sell that for $25. I'll sell that for $10.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's just like, oh, I wish I had that stuff now. Hindsight's 2020.
I had a similar thing with my PlayStation 2 games. Now, and I crossing my fingers on my broken brain, I believe I own every game that I've ever played in my life at this point. And I'm hoping that's true because I want to go through and play everything over again. That's kind of the whole thing of my channel. But I did that too. I would take my games to school and we trade them back and forth and do all sorts of different stuff. And back when I was in middle school, one of the other kids ended up taking every game out of my backpack. And I didn't know who it was for the longest time. Then I found out who it was, but at that point we were too old to care about it anymore.
Right.
But they took like my favorite games. Like it was Twisted Metal 4. It was Twisted Metal 4.
Twisted Metal 4 was one of the better ones in my opinion.
Resident Evil 4. There was Suikoden was in there. Like there was so many good games in there. It was easily 10 games, and they just like ripped it out of my backpack while I went to the bathroom or something.
Jeez.
So that was a big moment. I never brought my games back to school after that.
Yeah, I figured there. I had somebody do that with like one of my sets of Pokemon cards and stuff like that when I was in school. It's like, yeah, so I'm never bringing these back.
Oh, now that Magic was an interesting one for me. So I had just started playing Magic, and I was learning from a group of guys. And of course, it was nefarious on his part. I'm not going to take up for him, but we were still good friends. I haven't talked to him in a long time, but we were still good friends after that when I found out. But they have these things called fetch lands, where it deals a damage to you, it goes to your graveyard, and you go find another land. And when I started playing, I didn't understand why that was important. Why wouldn't I just put any other land on the planet in place of that? So my friend said he was looking for those. So anytime I pulled those out of a pack, I just gave them to him. But little did I know, they were like $25 each, and now they're up into $75 each and whatnot. So like,
which is insane for a card.
Yeah, and I easily probably handed him 20 or 30 of them. I would say easily.
Wow.
And he was taking them, and instead of using them in his deck like I thought he was doing, he was selling them at the local card shop because he knew better, and I didn't, and I was opening packs anyway.
Right.
And it didn't make sense to me why I would deal a damage to myself just to go find a thing that I could have just put in place of it. But now I know it's for, deck. I lost the word. It's to make the deck smaller so that you're more likely to draw spells instead of lands. The less amount of lands in your deck is better so that you draw better stuff later in the game. So every one of them takes a card out of the deck, which is what matters.
I've actually been thinking about getting back into Magic, like just trying to learn it again. But at this point, it's just like I have way too many hobbies.
It's a solid
Funko,
game.
D&D, all that stuff. I would bankrupt myself if I got back into Magic.
Yeah. We're doing a live stream not this weekend, but the next weekend, Sunday, 21st, with me and a couple of real life friends and my nephew, because he's coming down to play Dark Souls again. And we're going to do a booster draft style thing where we go around the table and pick cards, and it's all going to be live streamed here on Twitch. So it's going to be a fun little night.
Sounds like fun.
Yep. And then I'm so stretched thin. I've got so much going on. Like I've got this SMP launching on the 14th. I've got another podcast tomorrow. Like,
hey, you know what? At least you're staying busy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's creating more content for you to put out there. Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things that I do, or why I do cooking streams, why I have a TikTok, why I do all my clips, why I stream 4 nights out of 7 for the most part. Stuff like that. It's just like the more stuff you have to put out there, as long as it's good content. Like obviously, if it looks like a potato and doesn't, really do anything, or if it's just you sitting there staring at a screen, breathing into a mic, it's not exactly going to be good for you to put out there. But I mean, the more stuff you have, it's the more people you can draw in. One of the things that I learned after I did the rebrand is there's an entire cooking section on Twitch.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know that. I was like, okay, so I'm just going to stream into just chatting. And then I realized, cooking section. Yay.
And it is a popular section too, because everybody likes to watch a cooking show. Like, everybody enjoys turning on the food TV network and watching whatever's going on half the time. So,
and I mean, if you can pair cooking, like, I've already done 2 of the streams. I didn't do one this week. I was hanging out with a buddy. But, if you can do the cooking in a fun way while teaching people, because that's like the whole thing. The 2 streams that I've done and what I want to do with the cooking stuff is, yes, can I make, top tier level food? I was a chef for 10 years. Of course I can. But what most people need right now is, cheap, good food that can feed you for a couple of days versus, I've just spent $45 on a tomahawk steak and can't afford the potatoes to go with it.
Yeah.
So, my streams have been stuff like I spent $40 to make chili that lasted me the entire week between dinners and my lunches for the week. The whole point of my cooking streams, started stuttering there, is to show people how you can take small amounts of ingredients and make something that tastes good and will feed you for days. So that way, say you have a lean week on your paycheck, because people do still live paycheck to paycheck. We're all not, multimillionaires like Ninja. But, so I've got a friend at work that, I told him to start watching because he makes less than I do and he's always strapped for cash. I'm spending $30 and making 7 meals. That's the whole point of what I want to do. I want to teach people how to make good food and make it stretch.
Exactly. And everybody needs to learn $1 a day chicken fried rice, period. Like, that should be like a lesson at school, because it is, a 10-pound bag of rice is dirt cheap. Getting some frozen chicken is dirt cheap. Peas, carrots, rice, soy sauce, and all of that is super cheap. And like, it comes up to like enough food to eat for a month for like $30.
Oh yeah, and it's like one of the things that I'm gonna eventually do is one of my breakfast recipes. I call it Broke Man's Breakfast, and it costs you $5 for a single can of, $5 on the high end for a single can of corned beef hash, which not everybody likes, but it is good. And a single egg a day and cheese. You can take that one can, if you add all that stuff, and it will spread you out to at least 3 or 4 days for one can for breakfast. Stuff like that. It's just like unconventional ways to make food stretch out. It's kind of what I'm going for.
And a lot of people just need to hear 75% of flavor is seasoning.
Oh yeah.
And seasoning is dirt cheap. Like,
depending upon the seasoning.
Yeah, fair. I mean, I'm talking about the average staple seasonings.
Yeah, salt, pepper, garlic powder,
thyme.
I always have at least one thing of Cajun seasoning and one thing of Old Bay. That is the basic of my cooking, truthfully.
Oh, you'll like this. I got a good quick story here. So I used to live down in Atlanta, in Midtown Atlanta, and I had a really cheap 1-bedroom apartment, like 500 square foot, like super tiny. My kitchen that I worked out of, and I am not joking, was smaller than most people's closets. There literally wasn't counter space. It was a stove, a sink, a place for a microwave, and a refrigerator. That was it. No,
that sounds like an amazingly awesome kitchen. Tons of room to work in.
And it was in a closet style thing where it was in a door and there was walls all the way around all 4. You had to walk into that little room. And you could stand 2 abreast, my size type of person. So you had enough room to take 1 step to the right, and that was it. And if you were on the right, then you had enough room to take a step to the left. So naturally, I got used to putting my cutting board onto my oven, prep work everything into bowls, set the bowls on top of the microwave, clean the cutting board, put the cutting board away, start the oven, cook on the oven, clean as you go. Like, it was a whole process. But the thing that I learned from it was that I could cook anywhere. That was the biggest thing. Cook anywhere, and the majority of it was seasoning. And what I did for my spice rack, and this is the thing that got me to it, was spices. So I was in a tiny apartment. I didn't have access to power tools or anything like that, naturally. So I took a spice rack from Amazon, and it was too tall to put above my oven. So I went to my bathroom with a power grinder with a cutting attachment on it, and cut the top off of that. And let me tell you, I did not warn my roommate about it. He just saw sparks flying out of the bathroom. And I'm telling you,
out of the bathroom at that too. Not even take it outside. You're gonna cut this in the bathroom.
In the bathtub, to be exact. I mean, sparks just flying out the door. Like I was sure that my shower curtain was going to catch on fire, but I said, I need this. I'm going to do this. I literally just bought the power cutter just to do it. Like, I bought the power cutter just to do this, and I cut the whole top off of it, then turned around and looked for fire. Like, it was going to be done. I'm not going
to stop until it's done. If I die in a fire, at least it was worth it.
It was for the spice rack. And then I jammed that spice rack up underneath up above my oven, underneath my cabinet system there. And the top warped because I had to like really shove it in there. But I had 3 shelves for my spices, and I was able to put like 35 spices across it. And let me tell you, that was the most important thing I ever did in my entire apartment.
So, as long as we're telling stories about almost burning down the apartment.
Yeah, go for it.
My brother and For the Lows are going to laugh because they know this story. In my group of friends, I have a story that is called The Great Toaster Fire of 2016. Actually, before the rebrand, my entire stream was centered around this story. Like, my little, my toaster chef that I have, and the reason why I still have the toaster as my stream name my stream mascot is because of this story. So, back in 2016, not only was I working at a dealership, I was also working Mondays, so I was working 6 days a week at a grocery store, stocking shelves. Stocking the shelves started at 5 a.m. This is my first of 6 days working, so I'm a little groggy at 4 a.m. when I wake up. I take my shower, do everything normal, all this stuff. I've got time to make breakfast, so what do? I take this like $9.99 Colts toaster that I later found out my dad bought at a Walgreens. So high quality toaster right here, right? So I take it and I take a pack of Wild Berry Pop-Tarts and I put them in. I click down. I go back to watching the show that I had on Netflix or something. And it pops up and I'm like, okay, this is good. So I grab them, grab my thing of milk, take a bite out of one and go, I'm a fat guy. I'm going to need a second pack of Pop-Tarts. So I'm eating my Pop-Tarts. I put the second pack in the toaster, push down on the plunger, go back to watching the TV show. I've got half of the second Pop-Tart left. And behind me, I hear like a flamethrower sound just going behind me. I'm like, what in the heck? Obviously, I didn't say heck. Is this sound? I turn around and sitting on my counter is my Blue Colts toaster with literally, not exaggerating, literally 3 feet of flame coming out the top of it. So I panic. I drop the Pop-Tart. My dog is sitting there going, what's going on? But, he's derpy as it is. But I run to the toaster. I unplug it from the wall. And then I'm looking around. I'm like, how do I put it out? How do I put it out? It didn't, of course. So my years of chef training did not exactly kick in because it was 4:30 in the morning. And I was not exactly awake. instead of throwing a towel on it or flour or something like that, I was like, I gotta put it out. And I go to I pick it up and go to throw it in the sink, and I realize, or in my groggy brain, I go, wait, this is a toaster. That's an electric fire. That won't work in a sink. Not realizing that I had already unplugged it.
I see.
At this point, my apartment is filling with smoke, and the smoke alarm starts going off at 4:30 in the morning, and I live in the middle of a building on the bottom floor.
Oh.
So I had some fun. I had some very happy neighbors. But I grab it, and I start trying to blow it out like a birthday candle. And the burning plastic mixed with the smoke, I start to get dizzy. I'm like, maybe I should stop.
Hyperventilating.
So I grab this toaster, open my front door, which, by the way, I passed by the fire extinguisher. And I open the door, and I take it outside. I slam it on the ground, turn it on its side, start trying to throw like sand into it because I live in Florida and there's sand everywhere. And it just keeps burning. So I'm like, whatever. I stand it back up and leave it burning in the middle of the sidewalk. And then I go inside, grab some cookie sheets, and start waving the smoke away from the smoke alarms. And I'm just like, I don't know what to do. So I go to check on it, and it is finally burned out. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I don't even get a second pack of Pop-Tarts. I just grab my stuff and I go to work, leaving the toaster there in the middle of the sidewalk. I get back from work, and this toaster is probably only 3 inches tall at this point. Like, it burned that much.
That's insane.
And next to it is this little tiny, like, credit card sized black block. And I'm like, what in the heck is that? And I get closer.
That's the Pop-Tart.
Here's the best part. It was entirely black, but you could see through the cracks, and the wild berry filling was still bright pink.
Oh my lord. All it did was boil it. That's awesome.
So that is why I'm no longer allowed to use a regular toaster according to my friends, and I have a toaster.
So I am so paranoid on that. I have a fire extinguisher. Well, back when I was at the apartment, I had a fire extinguisher at every fringe. That way that it only took 2 because it was such a small area. But that way, if a fire ever happened, the fire would never be between me and the only fire extinguisher I could get to. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm here and the fire's there, there's a fire extinguisher on my side. And if the fire was on the opposite side of that, there's still a fire extinguisher on the opposite side there. So I always made sure that I had one nearby, and I always had it in my mind if it ever happened, because I'm so paranoid of a fire. Because that's literally my biggest fear, like as a streamer, of like getting all of this set up. Because you know it's happened to other like big YouTubers and junk like that, and you hear their stories and whatnot. But like if you're a small time YouTuber, you're not going to get too much support, you know. So it's kind of the nail in the coffin.
Although you do have to realize that having a fire on stream would make for great content.
Oh, quality. I means you could literally be the dog. Oh, this is fine. Hey, thanks for the sub. You know, like,
Yeah.
Just sitting in the fire going, it's pretty hot in here. Thanks for the donos. Like,
oh yeah. It was great. Like, just anything to do with fire now, or anything that has to do with a toaster, that story automatically gets brought up. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I've got a friend, we don't talk very often because, you know, just he's doing his own stream, his own thing, his own life, all that fun stuff. But occasionally we will message each other and he will bring up that story. Every time. Every time. It's like, dude, it is 2021. That was 5 years ago. Let it go. It's like, no, it's too funny. I'm like, you're right.
It is funny. I get it. But anyway, we should be wrapping it up here. You know, tell us where to find you at, what all you do, the types of games you do, and we'll head off here.
Okay. So, once again, if you guys haven't realized, I am ChefLunchBox423. I stream here on Twitch. I do have a Facebook, a Twitter, a Instagram, and a TikTok. Just about one of them should be ChefLunchBox423. I think I messed up on some names when I was renaming them, so I've got to wait for the cooldown timer to go off. But TikTok is definitely one of the ones that I try to focus on with clips and other stuff. I do some cosplay videos on there too. I have an OC that I made. Cool. As far as games that I play, right now, first and foremost, I'm trying to finish the season battle pass for season 8 on Apex. So it's Apex, and more Apex. I am known to stream some racing games. Burnout Paradise remastered version has been the one here lately. If I do that, but it did almost crash my stream. I don't know why. And then I did just get a Switch, so there will be fun-filled, chillaxing Pokemon Sword coming up here soon. But that's basically it. Hopefully you guys found me funny, and have a nice night.
Well, we thank you for being on the podcast here. It was a good one. This was a lot of fun. I'm gonna do a real quick thing right here with your stuff. Let me try to fix it here because I want to show that real fast. I like to do just a small show and tell here.
All right.
Yeah, it's Chef Lunchbox. He's set up on here on Twitch, and just check him out. We're going to have the link down in the description here of the YouTube video that comes out. We're currently about to launch the Minecraft SMP with almost 30 streamers right now on the 14th. And if you guys want to join the podcast and kind of sit in the same chair that Lunchbox is sat in here, just give us a request on the Discord. And thank you all for watching.
I'm not shipping my chair anywhere.
Oh, you're not shipping your chair anywhere. Well, we appreciate you being on here. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more.